As we get into looking at some of the specific technologies that count as artificial intelligence, as I said, I come from a kind of a technical background, and I wanted to give you some exposure to some of the technical side of this. Although, I don't expect you to actually become a coder yourself, but I thought it would be fun to take a look at these things and give you some things that you can look at, play with. Um, for example, expert systems, and I hope that you kind of understand what they are and how they work. I made to kind of demonstrate some of how an expert system works. I actually made an expert system. It's kind of a toy system where uh, the idea is that it's encoding the expertise of an instructor who's trying to decide whether to give a student an extension on a project. And the way this system works, I've got the code right here on the screen. You put in the excuse, and then you put in certain data about the student and about the assignment, and then you let the expert system decide whether or not it's a good idea to let this student have the extension. And you see down here, I'm printing the results of the judgment. Um, and so, any expert system is going to consist of the interface, which is this, because this could be input using a form or something. But it's going to have a knowledge base, which in this case holds data about what constitutes a good student and what constitutes a student who's in need of a break who could benefit from this, or what constitutes an important assignment, or what constitutes a family emergency, or so forth. In addition to the knowledge base, you have the inference engine, which combines all of these different criteria and actually does the decision making. Okay, so, but I wrote this, and I hope that at least some of you will be able to load it up and mess with it, and maybe make your own toy expert system, or at least edit this one a little bit. Um, but this involves knowing just a little bit of Python, and I'd like to go ahead and just show you how to get started with Python. First of all, so why are we learning a programming language? This is a management class. It is about a technical subject, but do we have to go this deep into the technical side of it? And I think that it's a good idea here. We're only going to be learning some of the basics. We're not going to be getting too deep into the comp sci side of it. Python is intuitive and easy and useful and fun. They're teaching it in the schools now, and letting not even just like the gifted kids, but just general everybody is learning how to write some basic Python code. Um, so the third reason I put on there is code is the best way to learn the difference between telling a computer what to do and then telling the computer to learn. And it's one thing to give explicit instructions, but we get into AI when we're just kind of exposing something to the computer and say, okay, well, look for patterns. Um, and Fourth, throughout the semester, I'm going to give you code to play with. So, like I said, I made this little expert system. Um, when we get into machine learning, I have a classifier that classifies data into categories. We'll also be doing some natural language processing. I'll give you an NLP parser, and something that can take some text and find significant phrases or classify it into different categories, and a simple chatbot, which is also combines a couple of things. The fifth reason is that Python is the #3 most in-demand skill right now for data analysts after education and R, which is a statistics programming language. Okay, so there are a couple of steps. I can't be too specific here because everybody's system is different. I actually had a student who installed it on a Linux tablet, so I can't make any assumptions about the platform that you're using. This site here gives instructions for the major operating systems and platforms, so Windows or Mac or Android or whatever you want to install it on, you'll find instructions there. So the first step is to actually install the language, which means the code that's going to interpret the Python programs, and then any supporting libraries that are there. So when you install Python, basically, when you extract that directory, it's going to create a directory on your hard drive that just stores the Python installation. I'll show you where that is on my machine in a minute. The second step is to install this tool, which I like very much. It's called Pycharm, and it's an integrated development environment which lets you, in one place, write code, debug it. It's got very nice editing tools, and then it makes it very easy to run a program. I'll show you how in just a second. So that's called Pycharm, and it comes in a professional edition and a community edition. If you install the community edition, it is free forever. But the professional edition will expire your license after 30 days. Okay, so you'll find that installation guide for Pycharm here. Okay, so once you've got, make sure that you install Python first, because the installation process of putting in Pycharm will go and look for your Python installation and then hook into it automatically. Okay, so here's once you got it installed and you launch it, you want to make sure that Pycharm has actually found your Python installation. And on this slide, I show you how to do that, and that's to go to File, Settings, and Project Interpreter. I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. So if I go to File in the upper left here, Settings, and then down here under Build, Execution, and Deployment, it might not be expanded. I have to expand it. And then come here to Python Debugger. It's going to be the Project Interpreter. There we are. Okay. Now, I use both Java and Python, but you'll probably just see Python here. So the Project Interpreter under Project Language, this is going to be the name of your project. Your Python is going to show you the interpreter that's using right here. So for example, when I installed Python 3.6, it installed it here: users, rgrus, app data, local programs, Python, etc., etc. So I can actually go to that directory and then just see a whole bunch of Python files. But this IDE lets me see all of the modules that I have installed that Python can use. And so sometimes one's not available, and you have to come here and add it, and you can do a search for it. So this also makes it very easy to manage your Python extensions. But let me go ahead and close that. So I have a project here called language processing, but you'll be making a new one. You'll probably just have a blank shell when you start here. So let me just show you what it will look like. So you'll go to File, New Project, and it will give you the option here of selecting your either a new environment using virtual env, and I would caution against doing this. Some people like this, but what happens if you do the new environment is it goes and it finds your current Python installation and then copies the whole thing over into this subdirectory here. So you basically have a copy of your Python. And the reason some people like that is because they have, for each project, they have a slightly different set of libraries. I don't find that necessary at all. So I'm just going to use the existing interpreter. So instead of just creating a whole new copy, it just points to the existing one. And I'll just call this RG test project. Okay, so that's going to be, pure Python here. That's the location of the project. I got existing interpreter. This is the one that I installed. And I will do create. Okay, and I'm going to open it in a new window. Okay, so now that I have this project, I can put a file in it. I'll click there, right click, and I'll do new Python file. And I'll just also call this test. I don't need to put .py. It doesn't hurt if I do, but if it knows that it's a Python file, it will add py extension automatically. Okay, so now I got my project and I got my Python file in here. Okay, so The customary first program to write is hello world. So I'm just going to write print hello world. And in Python, you can use single quotes or double quotes, doesn't matter. At this point, it doesn't matter. There's convenient uses for it later. But so this is just a one-line program that says, okay, print out hello world. Okay. Now to run this, I'm going to come up here to run. And this green play button here, run. And then it'll let me pick my file to run. Okay. And it ran and it printed out hello world. Okay. So there's the first program. So there you have a program in Python. And then once you can start doing, let's see, for I in range 1 to 20. Okay. I'll do a little loop here and I'll print out hello world 20 times. Okay. And there it is. Okay. So now we're programming. Okay. So go ahead and give that a try. So install Python, install Pycharm. Try to get a hello world working. I'll be available. You can either ask me for help remotely, or I'll try to get everybody up in class, because I would like to. I think it would be fun if you're at the point where I can give you these expert system files and we can kind of toy around with them. Okay. All right. Well, good luck with that, and let me know if you have any questions.